Okay, June 10th. 1 Kings 7 1 through 51. But Solomon took 13 years to build his own house, so he finished all of his house. He also built the house of the forest. He built the house of the forest of Lebanon. Its length was 100 cubits with 50 cubits, and its height was 30 cubits, and 4 rows of cedar pillars and cedar beams on the pillars. And it was paneled with cedar above the beams that were 45 pillars, 15 into a row. There were windows with beveled frames in 3 rows. The window was opposite window of the 3 tiers, and the doorways and the doorposts had rectangular frames, and the front window was opposite window in 3 tiers. He also made the hall of pillars. Its length was 50 cubits, its width was 30 cubits, and the front of them was a portfolio with pillars, with a canopy was in front of them. Then he made a hall for the throne, the hall of judgment, where he might judge, and it was paneled with cedar from floor to ceiling. And the house where he dwelt had another court inside the hall of like workmanship. Solomon also made a house like this hall for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had taken as wife. All these were of costly stones, cut to size, trimmed with saws, inside and out, from the foundation to the eaves, and also to the outside of the great court. The foundation was of costly stones, large stones, 10 cubits, and some 8 cubits. And above were costly stones hewn to size, and cedar wood. The great court was enclosed with 3 rows of hewn stones and a row of cedar beams. So was the inner court of the house of the Lord and its vestibule to the temple. Now King Solomon sent and brought Huram from Tyre. He was the son of a widow from the tribe of Nephtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a bronze worker. He was filled with wisdom and understanding and the skills of working with all kinds of bronze work. So he came to King Solomon and did all his work. And he cast 2 pillars of bronze, one 18 cubits high, and a line of 12 cubits, measuring the circumference of each. Then he made 2 capitals the size of bronze to set on the top of the pillars. The height of one capital was 5 cubits, and the height of the other capital was 5 cubits. And he made a lattice work with wreaths of chain work for the capitals which were on top of the pillars, 7 chains for one capital and 7 for the other capital. So he made pillars and 2 rows of pomegranates above the networks all around to cover the capitals that were on top, and thus he did for the other capital. The capitals which were on top of the pillars in the hall were the shape of lilies, 4 cubits. The capitals on 2 pillars had pomegranates above. By the convex surface was next to the network, and there were 200 such pomegranates in a row on each of the capitals all around. Then he set up pillars by the vestibule of the temple. He set up the pillar on the right hand, and it's set up the pillar on the right and called its name Jachin, and he set up the pillar on the left side, and it was called Boaz. The tops of the pillars were in the shapes of the lilies. So the work of the pillars was finished. And he made a sea cast bronze, 10 cubits from one brim to the other. It was completely round. Its height was 5 cubits, and a line of 30 cubits measured in circumference. Below its brim were ornamental buds, encircling it all around to 10 to a cubit. And all around the sea, the ornamental buds were cast in 2 rows when it was cast, and it stood on 12 oxen, 3 looking towards the north, 3 looking towards the west, 3 looking towards the south, and 3 looking towards the east. The sea was set upon them, and on their back parts pointed inward. It was a hand's breadth thick, and its brim was shaped like the brim of a cup, like a lily blossom, and it contained 2,000 baths. He also made 10 carts of bronze. 4 cubits was the length of each cart, 4 cubits its width, and 3 cubits its height. And it was the design of the carts. And they had panels, and the panels were between frames. On the panels that were between the frames were lions, oxen, and cherubim. On the frames was a pedestal on top. Below the lions and the oxen were wreaths of plated work. Every cart had 4 bronze wheels and axles of bronze, and its 4 feet had supports. Under the laver were supports of cast bronze beside each wreath. Its opening inside the crown at the top was 1 cubit in diameter, and the opening was round, shaped like a pedestal, 1.5 cubits on the outside diameter, and also the openings were engraved. But the panels were square, not round. Under the panels were four wheels, and the axles of the wheels were joined to the cart, and the height of a wheel was 1.5 cubits. The workmanship of the wheels was like the workmanship of the chariot wheel. Their axle pins, their rims, their spokes, their hubs were all cast of bronze, and there were four supports at each corner of each cart. Its support was part of the cart itself. On the top of the cart, at the height of 0.5 cubit, it was perfectly round, and on the top of the cart, its flanges were panels were of the same casting. On the plates of its flanges and on the panels of the engraved cherubim, lions, and palm trees, wherever there was a clear space on each, with wreaths all around. Thus he made 10 carts. All of them were of the same mold, one measure and one shape. Then he made 10 lavers of bronze. Each laver contained 40 baths, and each laver was 4 cubits. On each of the 10 carts was a laver, and he put 5 carts on the right side of the house and 5 on the left side of the house. He set the sea on the right side of the house toward the southeast. Hiram made the lavers of the shovels and the bowls. So Hiram finished doing all the work that he was to do for King Solomon for the house of the Lord. The two pillars, the two bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the two pillars, the two networks covering the two bowl-shaped capitals were on top of the pillars. 400 pomegranates for the two networks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network to cover to the two bowl capital the two bowl shaped capitals which were on top of the pillars, the 10 carts, the 10 lavers on the carts, one sea, 12 oxen under the sea, the pots, the shovels, and the bowls. All these articles which Hiram made for King Solomon for the house of the Lord were of burnished bronze in the plain of Jordan. The king had them clay in cast in clay molds between Succoth and Zetron. And Solomon did not weigh all the articles because there were so many, the weight of bronze was not determined. Thus Solomon had all the furnishing made for the house of the Lord, the altar of gold, the table of gold on which was the showbread, the lampstands of pure gold, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left side in the front in the inner sanctuary, with the flowers and the lamps and the wick trimmers of gold, the basins and the trimmers, the bowls and the ladles, the censers of pure gold, and the hinges of gold, both for the doors of the inner room, the most holy place, and the doors of the main hall of the temple. So all the work that King Solomon had done for the house of the Lord was finished, and Solomon brought in the things which his father David had dedicated, the silver and gold and the furnishings, and he put them in the treasuries in the house of the Lord. Acts 7:30-50. And when 40 years had passed, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, that was Moses, in the flame of the fire in the bush, in the wilderness of Mount Sinai. When Moses saw it, he marveled at the sight and drew near to observe. The voice of the Lord came to him, saying, I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses trembled and dared not look. Then the Lord said to him, Take off your sandals of your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard their groaning, and I came to deliver them. And now come, I will send you to Egypt. Thus, this Moses, whom they rejected, saying, Who made you ruler and judge? This is the one God sent to be ruler and deliverer by the hand of the angel who appeared to him in the bush. He brought him out and shown him the wonders and signs in the land of Egypt and the Red Sea and the wilderness 40 years. This Moses who said to the children of Israel, The Lord your God will rise up for you a prophet like me from among your brethren, him you shall hear. This is he who was in the congregation in the wilderness with the angel who spoke to him on Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, the one who received the living oracles to give to us, whom our fathers would not obey but rejected. And their hearts they turned back to Egypt, saying to Aaron, Make us gods to go before us, as this Moses who brought us out of the land of Egypt. We do not know what has become of him. And they made a calf in those days, offered sacrifices to idols, and rejoiced in the works of their own hands. Then God turned and gave them up to the worship of the host of heaven, as is written in the book of the prophets. Did you offer me slaughtered animals and sacrifices during the 40 years of the wilderness, O house of Israel? You also took up the tabernacle of Moloch, the star of your god Rimmon, images which you made to worship. I will carry you beyond Babylon. Our fathers had a tabernacle of the witness in the wilderness, as he appointed, instructing Moses to make it according to the pattern that he had seen, which our fathers, having received it in turn, also brought with Joshua into the land the possession by the Gentiles, whom God drove out before the face of our fathers until the days of David, who found favor before God, and asked to find a dwelling for him for the God of Jacob. But Solomon built him a house. However, the Most High does not dwell in temples made with hands, as the prophet says. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What house will you build for me, says the Lord? Or what place, or what is the place of my rest? Has my hand not made all these things? Psalms 128, 1 through 6. Blessed is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. When you eat of the labor of your hands, you shall be happy, and it shall be well with you. Your wife shall be like a fruitful vine in the very heart of your house, your children like olive plants all around your table. Behold, thus says the man, thus shall the man be blessed who fears the Lord. The Lord will bless you out of Zion, and may you see the good of Jerusalem all the days of your life. Yes, may you see your children's children. Peace be upon Israel. Proverbs 16:31 through 33. A silver head is a crown of glory, if it is found in the way of righteousness. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but every decision is from the Lord. All right. See y'all tomorrow.